Welcome, everyone. My name is Izzy von Luismenverg, and welcome back to another Lessons of Luismenverg. Today, we're going to try out a bit of history for a change. And what better way to start out with than one of the most infamous man-made disasters in history. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the tragic story of the Titanic. The RMS Titanic was a massive cruise ship, largest of its time, as a matter of fact. But humans make bigger stuff all the time, so it eventually got overthrown. The Titanic was owned and made by the now-defunct White Star Line, who were interested in making large boats that were catered for comfort instead of speed. And this ship was the height of luxury. It was equipped with basically everything you could want during the 1910s, as it had pretty much every kind of store you would go to at the time. It had swimming pools, ballrooms, libraries, you name it, they had it. The Titanic was given a test run in 1911 and was officially ready for her maiden voyage on April 10th, 1912. Over 2,000 people bought tickets to the mighty boat. Some were just on vacation, and others were immigrants heading to America to start a new life. However, during the ship's launch, there was already issues, as while it was launching, they nearly collided with another boat in port and only missed by a few feet. After getting out to sea, the ship first stopped at ports in France and Ireland to pick up more passengers, and then she was to cross the Atlantic to reach New York City. However, things went south during the trip. On April 14th, as the ship was making its way across the Great Ocean, they went through an area that was full of ice, and at 11:40 that night, they collided with an iceberg. Now, contrary to popular belief, they didn't ram into it. Rather, the iceberg ended up scraping the side of the ship. This caused many of its compartments to become flooded, and the water started to tip the boat, causing more of it to become flooded. They tried calling for help, but most boats were either too far away to do anything, or their communications were off, so they had no choice but to abandon ship. The lifeboats were set out, but, rather infamously, there wasn't enough for everyone. And some boats were sent out before they even had full capacity. Women and children were prioritized into who got in lifeboats, and overall, just over 700 people got away, leaving the rest to go down with the ship. At around 2 a.m., the ship split in half. Power went out, and the formerly mighty ship went beneath the waves. More than half the people on that boat died, either because of injury caused by the sinking, or the fact that it was the Atlantic at night, so it was very cold. Survivors were picked up by another boat, the Carpathia, which took them to New York. The Titanic is one of the worst maritime disasters in history, and it influenced the way boats are used nowadays. The most important being is that boats now have enough lifeboats for the amount of passengers they have. As for the remains, they were discovered in 1985, and many items were retrieved from it, where they would either be put on display in museums, or sometimes they were sold for money. Here there were talks about potentially resurfacing the boat, but it was too late for that. The ship had been completely rusted, and would likely disintegrate if they tried to move it. Now, because of the scale of the incident, many theories and urban legends have been spread about the boat over the years, the most famous being that the ship was claimed to be unsinkable. While some designers said the ship was designed not to sink, this is something a lot of boat companies said about their ships, and no one outright said it was unsinkable until after the boat had already sunk. And of course, you have your usual disaster theories like it was intentional, an inside job, or it was predicted. You know, the usual tragedy starter pack. The Titanic has inspired many stories over the years, and many movies and documentaries have been made about the great ship. Most famously was the 1997 film Titanic, a romance set aboard the ship, which became notable for becoming the first movie to make $1 billion, and for a while it was the highest-grossing movie of all time. Today, there are no survivors of the boat left, but the Titanic will live on in our memories as the worst thing to ever happen to a boat. So, our hearts will go on for the Titanic, the ship that could have made it.